Excellent strength and perfect clarity is the 5x5.
It's Real Talk with David and Nikki. Stay tuned for hot topics, gossip, and a little shade on the 5x5.
Imagine a world where bullying isn't considered a normal part of childhood.
A world where I'm not afraid to go to school.
To speak out.
To be myself.
A world where I'm not afraid to be caught alone.
Come on, punk.
We have the power to stop the bullying. Speak out.
Speak up.
Educate.
Find out what to look for and how you can make a difference at bullying.org.
Bullying is not kids being kids.
It's not about good homes or bad homes.
It's not a normal part of growing up. I shouldn't be afraid to get on the school bus.
To turn on my computer.
Or walk to my locker. Did you know that a bully will stop his or her behavior in 10 seconds when their peers speak up?
Use your voice.
Hey, leave him alone.
We have the power to stop bullying.
Find out more at bullying.org.
Bullying.org.
Where you're not alone.
And you're not alone.
Where you're not alone.
Welcome to the 5x5. I'm your host, David. My co-host today is, again, the fabulous Darling Nikki is with us this evening, but it's really this morning, but we're going to say tonight. We've been planning this show for a few weeks now, and Darling Nikki, hello.
Hello.
She's like, we're going to do it. We don't postpone it, but, life happens, unfortunately, sometimes, and today, one of those days it just happened, so I had to dump the show, and here we are at 12:30 in the morning. But it's a very interesting show about bullying, and hopefully you guys will take something away from what we're talking about tonight. It's prevalent in our society, in our schools. I have my own personal struggles, had my own personal struggles with being bullied while I was in high school. And, you don't know how much of those things that you take away from your childhood into your adulthood until you actually look back and like, wow, how did I survive those experiences? A documentary that a director by the name of Lee Hirsch did in 2011. And I was like, do I do this? Do I want to talk about this? This documentary is kind of old. I just caught it on Netflix, but it's still relevant. And while I was watching the show, I was like, my life. This is something that I actually went through. And, I just had all kind of emotions about the particular show, the documentary. And like I said, it's the documentary is called Bully. Lee Hirsch was the director. Darling Nikki, did you have an opportunity to check that out?
I have not yet.
Shame.
I know, and I really need to, and I will. I have not yet, though, but I will.
Yeah, but I know you have a lot of information. For all of you who don't know, Darling Nikki does have a background in school counseling, so I know she'll have a lot to add to today's broadcast. But back to the show real quick. When I first looked at the show, I was so infuriated by the lack of concern of adults that were in charge. There was a assistant principal at the school. Her name was Kim Lockwood, and this all took place. Well, the main feature of the documentary was based in Sioux City, Iowa, and a young man named Alex Libby, who was kind of the focus that Lee Hirsch has kind of made this whole bully documentary around. And I was like, wow, this young kid is pretty much going through what I was going through. It was all this kind of just torture on the bus, torture in the school, and just being completely alone. And it wasn't really too physical for me because I had a really, really mean sister. So nobody really, and Darling Nikki can attest to that fact, nobody would ever.
No,
really,
she's not mean.
Yes, she is mean. But nobody would really really physically attack me because they were scared of what she would do. Because she was kind of a bully, but she never picked on people. She was just kind of like the superheroine of my tale. But when she wasn't with me, because there was a point in time that we didn't attend the same school, I went through a lot from being about because I was a darker African American. I had a big nose. I had big ears. I remember being on a bus one day and going to school, and this was back in the 70s when school busing. I don't know if you ever experienced the school busing system in Indy, but here then we had a lot of busing going on at the time, and so we had to ride like 30 minutes to get to school that day, so it was this torture. Although my sister was on the bus, I remember this one girl, and I still can remember her name to this day. I won't say it, but I still remember what she said. And I'm sitting there, minding my own business, and I just remember her saying to me, "I don't like him. He's like a big black elephant with his big nose and big ears." And I was like, "Why is this kid talking about me and this way? I don't know you. I don't talk to you. You're older than me." But she felt the need to put that in there. Everybody, had a little laugh about it. Number going into school and just breaking down like it was so dramatic. I can do the drama now, and I mean falling out and crying because I was so hurt by her comments because I didn't know how to respond to that because I was young and she was a little older. And but yeah, that's like one of the things that I went through early on, just like Alex Libby. I remember during the show, even his mother and his father were like, "Well, why do you think they're treating you this way?" And his sister didn't want to go to school with him because she knew he was being so tormented each day by his would-be attackers. And then the Kim Lockwood, she's went on to actually, and I don't know if you read part of the blog, Nicole, she's actually went on to get promoted. She's now in another school system. Either she's a superintendent or she's a principal, because she was an assistant at the time, and she had the unmitigated gall to say that I think they had a showing, and she's like, "It's been hell. My life has been hell since the documentary." She didn't want to have anything to do with the hearse because she was shown in a bad light. You was only shown in a bad light because that's how you are. I like a lot of these reality TV shows. They'll say, "Well, that's editing." No, that's who you are. The real person came out. You can only edit so much. And anyhow, it was just difficult to watch. And there was actually through the show, and I think Darling Nikki had mentioned to me this evening about a young lady in Marion, Indiana.
Yes, there was a 14-year-old, Braylee Rice, and she was in Marion, Indiana at McCullough Junior High School. She unfortunately took her life that morning of May 6th after being bullied repeatedly. And very, very sad situation. My heart goes out to her family and the friends that she had in the school and the community, and just kids everywhere that have been bullied, that are being bullied now, that don't have anyone to go to, that don't have anyone to talk to. And it's a really terrible situation. I feel like something needs to be done about it, definitely. But back to Braylee, she passed away on May 6th. She hung herself, and this is something that did not have to happen. This is something that could have been prevented.
Absolutely.
And it makes me angry that the bullying went on for so long and wasn't dealt with. And, there's been several instances in schools elsewhere, maybe not as severe as this, where it's actually happened in the school, but there have been instances in Indianapolis where kids, teenagers have taken their lives or have hurt themselves. And, point blank, it did not have to happen. It shouldn't have occurred. They should have been able to either talk to someone or felt like they could have gone to someone. And don't get me wrong, it's not the kid's fault, definitely. It's not their fault. It's not let me put it this way, it's not the victim's fault. But there should have been an outlet that they could have used. And I'll get into that a little bit later.
Do you think you know just who you are, driving around chasing money in a man-made car? Do you ever think about it? Don't you think it's bizarre? You're in the Milky Way, floating around in the stars. It's like who, what, when, where, why am I? And all this time we've been just a speck in the sky. It's like a cosmic joke that can make you laugh. Your whole existence is the sum of the cosmic math. Well, if you woke up this morning, then it's a good day. If you woke up healthy, it's a good day. If you woke up refreshed, then it's a good day to get up, get out, get on your way. If you woke up broke, it's still a good day. If you woke up diseased, it's still a good day. If you woke up exhausted, still a good day because you woke up, so get on your way. Now if you have some today, then give some away, cause what you give will come back on another day. Not in the same form, and just so you know, what you reap is what you will eventually sow. Like if you rise to the top, you'll have to come back down to find your feet firmly planted back on the ground. And if you live by the gun, you might die by one, because it only takes one shot to blot out the sun. Now if you woke up this morning, it's a good day. If you woke up healthy, it's a good day. If you woke up refreshed, then it's a good day to get up, get out, get on your way. If you woke up broke, it's still a good day. And if you woke up diseased, it's still a good day. And if you woke up exhausted, it's still a good day because you woke up, so get on your way. Now when the lights go out for good, how will you turn them back on? Did you create yourself in a physical form? Did you breathe the breath of life into your lungs and make your heart beat since before you were one? Did you take 2 cells and make them 4, then turn 4 into 8 and make 8 million more? Did you realize one day that you were alive and forget that one day you would eventually die? Well, if you woke up this morning, then it's a good day. And if you woke up healthy, then it's a good day. If you woke up refreshed, then it's a good day to get up, get out, get on your way. If you woke up broke, it's still a good day. And if you woke up diseased, it's still a good day. And if you woke up exhausted, still a good day because you woke up. Now get on your way.
During the documentary, there was actually, and I don't have it in front of me, but there was 2 gentlemen that they spoke of in the show. They weren't the focus, but their parents kind of took the lead in the documentary, where they had also taken their life. And one couple, their son had killed himself, and I guess he had hung himself in the closet. And she's like, I can't walk in this room without seeing, seeing him being there in that state. And in my mind, I never got to that extent, even though it was difficult. I hated riding the school bus every day to school. It was just absolute horror, and I don't think I ever shared that with you. Because I did have a lot of friends, and I had a safety net there that I felt, that I could go to if I needed to talk. So I think that's probably what helped me out. But there's so many of these kids that they don't have friends, and I can't imagine what I was going through not having somebody to turn to, not having a friend. Because sometimes you don't want to tell your parents, especially you don't want to tell your father, because even in the show with Alex Libby, there was kind of a strained relationship at the beginning between him and his father. He was telling him what he should do, and they just had this interchange about, how do you solve your problem? How do you make people like you? You can't make anyone like you. You can only be yourself. If somebody doesn't like you, and if you're a good person, it's more to do with them than it has to do with you. Like I said, I had a safety net somewhat, but my safety net wasn't there on the bus with me. And I had friends that didn't live in the same neighborhood as I did, and going home, I remember this one guy. Again, I can remember his name too. He grabs my chemistry book, and he starts shaking all my papers out, and then he hangs it out the window. And he was like, "You think you're smart, don't you?" And my thing is, how am I supposed to respond to that? I'm smart because you're not in this class. Not to say to get some, but the truth was the truth.
Yeah.
And I just got it from so many ways because I never thought I fit in anywhere. And people, like I said, they were against me because of my skin color. I was overweight, and everybody assumed I was gay. They didn't know, I guess it's more prevalent now than when I was in high school in the late 80s. And they assumed, so I was ostracized for that as well. And they made it difficult. I remember she's actually married to one of my cousins now. We're outside with my group of friends, and I see another friend of mine that's talking to her. So I just start talking to that person, and she's like, "What are you doing talking to us?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I'm just looking at her. She's like, "Well, you don't talk to us any other time because you're always in their classes." And their classes were the white kids' classes. So I get that as well because I was an overachiever. I did have, some academic success in high school. And there was a certain sect of my community that wasn't in those classes. And so I got bullied for that reason as well. I want to be them. I'm like, no, I'm just being me. This is what my parents expect me to do. Right. And the whole with the gay thing, I also remember being in a library, and I overhear, I'm trying to escape my tormentors, and it happened to rain that day, so everybody was in the library, and I hear one of my tormentors say, "Is he a fag?" I'm like, seriously? Why are you saying that loud enough for everybody to hear? Why do you even care, for one? Are you going to beat me up, in the library in front of everybody because you think I'm a fag? And I was like, it just hurt me so much. But I just kind of ignored it because I wasn't a fighter. My sister was a fighter. I wasn't. I just wanted to get good grades, do what I was supposed to do, and go home because that's what my parents require. And that's my thing now. Where these parents, where are they at? Because on the show, they never showed any of the parents of the kids that were bullying the Alex Libby, Kelby Johnson, or Jamia Jackson. They never show those parents. Where's the responsibility? What are you teaching your kid at home that they feel as though that they need to go, be the aggressor towards somebody else's child? Where's the respect? That's my big question. I don't understand that. Do you?
Well, I don't know where the parents were, but I can speak on that a little bit. I think that in resolving this whole bullying, let's call it an epidemic. Let's just start there. In resolving this whole epidemic, I feel that we have to change our mindset. And this is a mindset that we have on anything else, guns, a mindset that we have on how we treat each other, on racism, etc. So in resolving this epidemic, it's interesting that you do bring up the parents, because I don't want to say that anytime someone's bullied or someone does a bullying, it's the parents' fault. No, that's not the case. But at times it can be a learned behavior. Well, let me say it is a learned behavior many times. So in some cases, it is the parent's fault, or it is the environment in which the child grew up in. And the only reason I say that, I did watch an episode that Anderson Cooper had on his show, and it showed how one of the children was saying that the parents said to just suck it up, be a man, to the boy, be a man, just suck it up, you know. And that's something that gets ingrained in a child, and the child doesn't want to go back home and say, okay, they took my lunch, okay, you know, they stole my shoes or something. You know, the child doesn't want to say that, because in turn they don't have that support system at home where they can say, hey, this happened to me today. Oh, but I'm supposed to suck it up. So, okay, well, what does suck it up mean? What do you do when you suck it up? You follow
exactly.
me?
Yeah, because me, for instance, not that my parents would have told me to suck it up, but I don't remember even expressing how I felt by riding the bus, or people were doing X, Y, Z to me. I was embarrassed. You know,
right.
I'm my dad's son. You know, my dad's my dad. He's a manly man. He's a mechanic. You know, how can I go tell my dad? You know, we fish together every Saturday. How can I go tell my dad? Well, I'm scared to tell these boys to leave me alone, because I don't want the aftermath. I don't want it to get worse, you know, because like I said, it was a group. It was like, you know, they have that what's the saying? They say the mentality, I lost my train of thought. You know, it's like the pack mentality, you know. Mm-hmm. And you know, once one started, and it was everybody, you know. So, but I found my comfort in my education, and also in my friends. And I was not really a part. And I've spoken to some of my friends that we reconnected on Facebook with, and I was like, did you like our school? Did was it enjoyable for you? And I kind of shared with them. They said, well, no, because I don't remember that, but they didn't have any reference, because they weren't being bullied. And I'm like, huh. I said, I hated it. It was, I couldn't wait to get out the door. And I also was in a program called Upward Bound. Remember when I was Upward Bound? So
right.
That gave me a release as well. And
because that's good. That's wonderful. But some kids, let me go back and say some kids, not most kids, don't have that outlet. And those
exactly.
are the ones that fall in the cracks, and those are the ones that, if they're not falling between the cracks and they don't find that healthy outlet, they're going to find either a bad outlet, or they're going to do something very extreme, and they're not going to know where to turn to, not going to have that healthy outlet, and then they're going to do something, very extreme, very dangerous. And that's what worries me. That's what scares me, about this whole thing.
Yeah, because, where do you start? There's been, everybody say there's Speak Up, Stop Bullying that Comedy Central, the Cartoon Network, sponsored with Anderson Cooper 360 with the Bully Effect. There was a response from the Bully documentary, and so you guys will know Alex Libby. If you haven't seen any of the programs, he's a different kid from the kid that I've seen in the documentary to the kid now. He's touring with Lee Hirsch and the Speak Up, Stop Bullying campaign. He's vibrant. If you look at the show, the mom at one point, which has just pretty much killed me, the mom said, well, what are you going to do? She's like, do you even care that these kids are doing it? Because after they had showed that some of the footage to the parents, they were shocked as well, for one. But she's like, so why do you let these kids do it? He's like, I don't. And his response was, I'm not sure I feel anything anymore. And I'm like, wow, yeah, that was so profound for me to hear that, because there was points where I'm like, You have to almost, I think, to be protected. I think the kids that do make it through with the scars and the memories, I think you kind of turn your emotions off, and you're kind of emotionally adrift to the whole what you're going through, and you got to act like it doesn't bother you, because I was good on putting on a real good fake face, I laughed. And I was social when I could be, but inside I was dying because I'm like, I can't take one more faggot comment. I can't take one more "you think you're better than us" comment. But a good thing, I would like to say with this kid, they were stabbing him with pencils on the bus. They were slamming his head into the seat, and no one did anything. And I want to go back to Kim Lockwood, the assistant principal, and she's trying to show herself in the best light in this documentary, which she completely failed, because at one point in the show, there's another young man. He wasn't part of the feature. This was something they was focusing on her and how she handles the problem being bullied, and she's trying to bring the victim and the aggressor together, and she's like, well, you need to shake his hand. She says this to the victim, and he doesn't want to. And so the guy, the aggressor, gets away. She's like, you go do what you need to do. And so she starts attacking the victim. She's like, well, you wasn't being very nice when you didn't accept his hand as an apology. And she's like, why don't you just stay away from him? He's like, he comes to me. He comes after me every day. I stay away. He comes to me, and you won't do anything about it. She's like, well, then her thing was you wouldn't shake his hand. Like that was going to solve all the problems. I'm like, who is this chick and what is her address? Because
she was probably a bully in school herself.
Well, or she was, a lot of people, they like to turn a blind eye because they don't know what to do. Maybe she didn't have the tools to address the problem, because and some of these parents, and I want to give the parents a little more blame from my perspective, because if you have a child that's unruly, you have to know. But then again, in this day and age, we have so many single parents that they don't know how to raise a young man. Their babies having babies. They don't know how to teach a young lady to be a lady because the way they were raised. So it's sad that it's generational now, how the kids are being raised, and it's like it's a stigma that somebody has to stop something somewhere. Like I think you were sharing with me earlier, there's like bullying loans now.
Bullying and loans.
No, I can't. Bullying laws.
Oh.
Girl, I speak English. Don't play.
It's like, see, we're an hour ahead of time in Indianapolis, and
don't believe it. It's not true. She's sitting right next to me. We're in the studio. I don't know what she's playing.
Governor Mike Pence recently signed legislation to curb bullying in Indiana schools, and he did this Saturday. So,
this is recent.
Yes, this is past Saturday. So that's a step in the right direction. He actually, it's called Act 1423, and what it does is it requires school districts to track and report bullying incidences in an annual performance report. So, it's a step in the right direction, and I think through dedication and consistency, it will prove valuable. But it also requires school employees, volunteers, students, anyone that has contact with children to be trained on bullying prevention, investigation of bullying incidences, and procedures with students and parents. So it also, if you go to the website, indiana.gov/app legislation, it will give you the definition of the entire bill that was passed. But like I said, it's a step in the right direction.
check us out on Facebook at The 5x5 or tweet us at The 5x5 or go to Recycled Blog Talk for past shows. Thanks for tuning in. It's Real Talk with David and Nikki. Stay tuned for hot topics, gossip, and a little shade on The 5x5.